74 pings in a single day. That's where I was at when the message lit up my Slack window like a flare gun. Billing API down again? I hadn't slept in almost 2 days. My hands were twitchy from pounding vending machine coffee. My back felt like it had been welded into a chair. I was sweating through my hoodie like I was fixing live wires in a storm. That wasn't even the worst part. Our lead DevOps guy had rage quit mid-deploy after a screaming match with the CTO over cloud costs. Walked out with his middle fingers in the air, and just for fun, killed all his AWS tokens before he left. Didn't revoke them, deleted them, just nuked his access like he was lighting a match on his way out the building. The CTO, nowhere. He was too busy polishing slides for some crypto conference, pretending like the core infra wasn't on fire. So, guess who got left holding the bag? Yeah, me. I wasn't even on the DevOps team. I was a back-end contractor they made full-time a few months ago. But since I slept on a beanbag with a laptop on my chest, no one else even had the credentials to reboot a single region. It was all me. That root account was the only thing keeping them from watching the whole platform eat itself alive. And they knew it, even if they didn't say it. But that silence, that was the first clue. I closed my laptop on day 5, red-eyed, hands shaking, heartbeat like a hummingbird. Uptime graphs green across the board. Then the Slack pinged again. Hey, did the staging database go red only? I didn't answer. I just stood up, walked to the bathroom, and threw up. I picked the earliest open slot on his calendar, Tuesday, 10:30. Just enough time after stand-up for him to finish his protein smoothie and stop pretending he didn't see me. The invite just said, follow up on infra recovery, 15 minute. I didn't put raise in the title. I wasn't stupid. I showed up early. Everyone else was in the kitchen debating which flavor of kombucha tasted least like regret. I was the only one in the building wearing a blazer. Thrift store navy, little tight in the shoulders, but clean. Underneath it, my old company t-shirt, the one they gave me when they converted me to full-time. He was 3 minutes late. Walked in sipping some foamy drink that looked like a melted dessert. No greeting, just a nod and, let's make it quick. I opened my laptop. I wanted to walk through what I handled during the outage, I said, keeping my voice level. I'm not here to brag. I just want it documented. He blinked slow and leaned back. I pulled up the dashboards. Latency. Down 20%. Error rates. Cut in half. AWS bill. Cut off the runaway loop before it ballooned. I even ran a cost diff before and after the fixes. It showed potential savings of nearly $80,000 a year if they kept my configs. He glanced once, sipped. I used my personal root AWS access to bring everything back, I said. I had no credentials, no team, no playbooks. I patched the entire stack and stabilized production solo. Still nothing. I pointed to a graph. This is when the billing loop was active. If I hadn't caught it in time, we'd be looking at 6 figures. Easy. He looked up finally, stared right at me. Your contribution, he said, completely flat, was minimal. I didn't blink. I didn't argue. I just closed the laptop, stood up and said, thanks for your time. Then I walked out. By lunch, I'd drafted my notice. I didn't make a scene. I didn't say one bad word in the goodbye note. Just dropped it in his inbox with the subject, Notice, 2 weeks. Body of the email was short. Appreciate the experience. All docs attached. No questions, no replies, just silence. That afternoon, he posted in general Slack like it was some cheerful update. Please wish my name, spelled wrong, the best as they move on to new opportunities. We're grateful for the time we had. Grateful, right. The same guy who watched me burn myself out holding the platform together couldn't even spell my name right. Classic. But whatever. I didn't reply. I didn't react. I just kept working through my final 2 weeks like a machine. Every morning, I logged in early, cleaned up the mess he never acknowledged, labeled every function, scripted every deploy. If something was undocumented, I wrote the docs myself. No drama, just clean exit. People came by my desk to check in. Most didn't say much, just awkward half smiles and weak jokes. You sure you're leaving? I'd kill for a break like that. You'll be back. I smiled, nodded, said, yeah, maybe. But inside, I was already gone. They didn't know what I'd seen, how deep the cracks ran. This wasn't a company. It was a fire drill with funding. My hands still ached from the last deploy, but I kept them moving, kept cleaning, kept leaving a trail. I didn't ask anyone to fix it. I just made sure they couldn't say they weren't warned. This is not a theoretical problem. Their response? One comment from the same junior. This feels paranoid. No, thank you. No, let's meet. Just that. Paranoid. I took a screenshot, just in case. That last week, I didn't slack off. I didn't mail it in. I finished every open task, closed out every ticket I could, pushed final commits, wrote full documentation. Real documentation. Not the fake stuff they like to slap on a README and forget existed. Every file I left had my name in it, versioned, clean, and tagged. No drama, no sabotage, just clarity. I even set calendar reminders for them. Credentials expire in 90 days. Rotate tokens. Not that anyone looked. My last day? Stale cake from the grocery store fridge. Sheet cake. Frosting already crusted from sitting out too long. No candles, no card, until someone scrambled to grab a blank one from the supply closet. Half the team signed it. 4 of them misspelled my name. 2 didn't sign at all. The CTO, no show. Not even a Slack DM. Just silence. I didn't care by that point. I'd already packed up. Left the goodbye card face down on my desk, cake untouched. Someone said, "Hey, make sure you take a photo with the team." I smiled, said, "Maybe later," and walked out. I didn't delete anything. I didn't pull plugs or change passwords. Everything I built, I left in place, open, documented. What they didn't realize, what no one wanted to realize, was that I wasn't holding them hostage. I was holding the weight, and when I stepped away, I didn't slam the door. I just let gravity do what it always does. 2 days after I walked out, my phone buzzed with a headline alert from an AWS status bot I'd forgotten to silence. It wasn't my problem anymore. Still, muscle memory made me glance. A line item popped up. An invoice notice. Amount: $2,431.76. Weird number. Too specific to ignore. Too small to be harmless. By 9:30 that morning, finance had already noticed. The charges weren't tied to any known cost center. They were showing activity in regions the company didn't even operate in. São Paulo, Singapore, random US West availability zones. By 10, engineers were panicking in Slack. Someone dropped screenshots of instances spinning up with no owner tags. Another asked if someone had run a test. Nobody had. Logs didn't match any active credentials. No IAM user records. No temp keys. Just phantom compute spinning in circles, racking up charges by the minute. At 11 sharp, the CTO walked in like he'd just come back from brunch. He had that lazy smirk, the one he wore when he wanted to sound smart without doing anything useful. "What's everyone freaking out about?" he asked. Becca from finance held up her screen. "Unexplained AWS activity, about 2,400 so far, and climbing." He leaned in, glanced once, then shrugged. "Billing glitch. AWS does that sometimes. Just open a ticket." Right then, the dashboard refreshed. The number jumped, $612,000 projected spend. The whole room froze. "Still think it's a glitch?" Becca said. He blinked twice, suddenly pale. "Okay, let's dig into the logs." They tore through CloudTrail. Nothing. All access keys were valid, but none matched active users. Someone suggested a breach. Someone else said insider sabotage. But the timestamps didn't make sense. Instances were spinning up across multiple regions at once. Ghost infrastructure, duplicating itself every few minutes. Then someone finally pulled my old documentation. Page 6, right under the section header, pending migration from personal AWS account. It was all there. Credentials chain, resource map, and one bright red warning line. Production currently runs on my personal root account. Migration required immediately upon my departure. Becca read it out loud to the room. "Wait," one of the junior engineers said. "So, this is his account?" Becca nodded slowly. "Looks like it." Silence. Then another voice, quieter. "Didn't he file tickets about this?" She clicked around, pulled up the Jira dashboard. 4 tickets. All marked resolved or duplicate. 2 of them closed manually by the CTO. You could practically hear the air leave the room. Someone asked, "So, what do we do now?" The CTO rubbed his temples, muttered something about AWS support, and started pacing. They called AWS billing first. The rep said the charges were valid, compute instances under an active root account with full permissions. Nothing to dispute. Then they called legal. Legal said, "Who owns the account?" Becca answered, "It's personal, not under our org." Silence again. AWS wasn't about to refund a dime. They'd been warned. It was all in writing. Meanwhile, the ghost infra kept multiplying. At one point, someone tried to shut it down manually, but every termination call failed. They didn't have permission, because the only credentials with full control were mine. The CTO finally snapped, slammed his laptop shut and yelled, "Why on earth didn't anyone migrate it?" Becca shot back, "Because you closed the tickets." I wasn't there to see it, but I heard later the office went dead quiet after that. Nobody defended him. Nobody laughed it off. By the end of the day, AWS spend had crossed 7 figures in projections, every region lighting up red. That night, someone reopened all 4 tickets and reassigned them to unresolved requires external access. Funny thing, the only external access was me, and they all knew it. My phone lit up at exactly midnight, no caller ID. I let it ring. 30 seconds later, it buzzed again. Same number, no voicemail, just silence between the rings, like whoever it was couldn't decide if they should keep trying. I answered on the 3rd call. "Yeah?" There was breathing on the other end, heavy, uneven. Then that voice I'd know anywhere. "It's me," he said. "We need to talk." I didn't say his name, didn't have to. He sounded wrecked, the slick confidence stripped down to panic. "There's been some AWS activity tied to your setup." I let the silence hang, took a slow sip of tea, let him fill the space. He did. "It's bad," he said, his voice cracking. "The board's freaking out. Finance is crying. Legal's already called outside counsel. We're dead in the water. Can you help?" He wasn't asking like a boss. He was begging like a man holding his own head underwater. I leaned back in my chair, looked out the window. The street below was empty, city lights glinting off wet asphalt. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. "What exactly do you want?" I asked. "I need you to walk us through the fix," he said quickly. Just tell us what to shut down. The ghost infra, it's spreading. We can't stop it." I checked the time on my screen. 12:07 in the morning. "Okay," I said. "My rate's $25,000 a day. $250 up front as retainer." He went quiet. "You're kidding," he said finally, a dry laugh breaking through. "We're not a Fortune 500 company." "Start selling desks," I said. He didn't answer. I could hear muffled voices in the background, probably legal or finance trying to coach him through it. Then his voice dropped to a whisper. "You can't do this to us." "Not doing anything," I said. "You're the one who didn't migrate the system." He groaned, full of frustration and fear. "The board's on my back. They think it's sabotage. They're threatening to freeze my stock options." "Sounds rough," I said, keeping my tone flat. "Wire transfer, $250. I'll start when it clears." "You can't expect me to—" Click, I hung up. My phone stayed quiet for about a minute. Then another call, then a text. "Please pick up. We'll pay." I watched the screen, took another sip of tea, and waited. At 12:54 in the morning, my banking app pinged. Incoming wire. 250,000 exactly. No note, no emoji. Just the numbers. I put the cup down, grabbed my laptop, and started pulling up dashboards. Time to earn it. I walked in at 8:02 in the morning, sharp. Not a minute early, not a second late. No hoodie, no startup tee, no "sorry I'm late" traffic energy. Just a clean navy suit, crisp white shirt, and a folder under my arm. The office looked different in daylight. Empty, dead quiet. The espresso machine was off. Ping-pong paddles sat untouched on the table like relics from a better quarter. Every face turned when I walked past the glass wall. No one said anything. They just stared like I'd risen from the dead. Or worse, come back to bury them. I didn't waste a word, dropped my folder on the CTO's desk, pulled my laptop from the case, and opened up the dashboards. "Current AWS burn," I said. 2.13 million and climbing. I turned the screen toward him. His face was a shade of gray I hadn't seen on a living person. Behind me, Becca from finance let out a small gasp. "That's real?" "Yep," I said. Multi-region ghost deployments, all tied to your active infra with no org-level controls. Whoever tried to kill them didn't have root. Half the terminations bounced. He cleared his throat like he wanted to speak. I didn't give him the chance. I turned the laptop back and got to work. No drama, no eye contact, no commentary. I opened the console, started mapping instances, sorted by runtime, killed them region by region, the oldest first. I traced every dependency, every auto-trigger, shut down the recursive jobs, yanked old event bridges. They tried to crowd around. I waved them back. Unless you're root, don't touch anything, I said. They backed off. I moved fast, clean, surgical, the same way I had when I'd built it, except now I was cutting out the rot. By noon, it was over. Uptime stabilized. Ghost infra gone. Budget burn frozen. 4 hours. That's all it took. I stood, shut the laptop, and slid it into my case. "That's it?" the CTO asked. "That's it," I said. They stood there like they expected some big speech or apology. I wasn't giving them either. "We'd like to talk about keeping you on," he said. I smiled, first time all day. "Too late," I said. Then I turned and nodded to the man standing near the elevator. Dark gray blazer, clean beard, holding a matching folder. "This is Jordan," I said. "He'll be handling things from here." "Wait," the CTO said. "He's from—" "Yeah," I nodded. "Your top competitor. He knows what he's doing." Silence again. Jordan gave a polite half smile and walked over to shake hands. Nobody reached out. I didn't wait for the awkward goodbyes. Just grabbed my folder and walked straight to the elevator. The doors closed. My reflection stared back at me. Calm, clear-eyed, done. I never looked back. The final AWS bill landed 5 days later. $2,940,000. Becca emailed me a screenshot. No message, just the bill. Line items stacked like a war log. Hourly compute charges, cross-region data transfers, storage spikes. Everything I'd warned them about. They tried clawing it back, claimed it was a mistake, a misconfiguration, even floated the word fraud on a call with AWS billing. The rep didn't flinch. "You authorized it." That was the full reply. Case closed. A week after that, someone leaked the story. Some tech blog picked it up. Title was brutal. Startup burns millions in self-inflicted AWS firestorm. By the end of the day, it was viral on Hacker News. Top comment: "Imagine firing the guy who saved your skin, then blaming him when you ignore his documentation." The CTO tried to spin it. Internal email went out to the company with the subject line, "Setting the record straight." In it, he blamed unauthorized infrastructure built by a former contractor and used the word sabotage 3 times. Bad move. Because less than 24 hours later, one of the junior engineers posted screenshots, my tickets, my Confluence page, Slack threads with timestamps, full changelog. The headline changed. Now the story was about leadership negligence, and that's when it started unraveling. Engineers began quitting, one after another. Some sent me messages on LinkedIn, short, to the point. "I'm out." By the end of the quarter, 40% of their dev team was gone. Some of them, the smart ones, that came to me. I didn't recruit. I didn't have to. They showed up in my inbox, already packed and ready. Said they wanted to build something real, something clean, something that wouldn't fall apart the second someone left the room. So, I brought them in. Quietly, no announcements, no press releases. We built fast, no distractions, no drama, just clean code and sharp decisions. A few weeks later, we launched. Minimalist landing page, no names, no faces, just the product. But anyone paying attention recognized it instantly. The architecture was familiar, too familiar. Only now it worked. No lag, no billing errors. No ghost deployments, just fast, stable, clean infrastructure. They tried to call it a clone, claimed we'd stolen their IP. But the problem with claiming ownership over a product you never understood is the receipts don't lie. Every function had my fingerprints. Every fix they never merged. Every best practice they'd ignored. They built the broken version. I built the one that worked. I didn't go on camera, no podcasts, no launch day Twitter threads. I didn't need the spotlight. I had the system, and the system spoke for itself. A week after launch, I got a package at the office. No label, no return address. Just a brown cardboard box left at reception with my name written in black marker across the top. Spelled right this time. I opened it at my desk. Inside, a fruit basket, some fancy imported chocolates, and a plain white envelope. The card inside was unbranded, cheap, like one you'd grab from the grocery store checkout. The handwriting was neat, slow. Minimal contribution. I disagree. M. That was it. No name, no logo. Didn't need either. I knew exactly who sent it. I pinned the card to the corkboard next to my monitor, right above my invoice tracker. That architecture they once rolled their eyes at, the stuff they called overkill and too paranoid. It was alive now, leaner, cleaner, faster. And this time, no one could claim it didn't work. They got headlines. I got retention offers. They launched PR fire drills. I launched features. They blamed each other. I billed by the hour. While they tried to explain to the board why half the engineers left, I was on Zoom calls with new clients, walking them through rock-solid infra that didn't fall apart when someone took PTO. I didn't raise my voice, didn't delete a file, never touched a single line of their codebase after I left. I just handed them the bill. There's this myth people love, that revenge has to be loud, explosive, something dramatic. But the best kind? It's the one you don't see coming until it's too late to stop. It's quiet, precise, clean. They thought I wanted credit. I didn't. I wanted distance. Now I've got it. And a waitlist full of companies who've learned from their mistakes. So, yeah, go ahead. Hit subscribe, unless you're my old boss. Then good luck. I'm not angry anymore. I'm billable.